Hi, everyone. Good evening. Today we'll discuss quite a few things, but welcome to this channel. We're going to go over this interview with Ace Metaphor and Pastor Jamal Bryant. As you know, Keto Rose went viral recently discussing her departure from their relationship, their business relationship. She's been with them for the past, I think, 6 years. And it became a huge problem when it comes to her getting paid, her feeling disrespected, her feeling like, at the end of her rope. And she gave her, I think, 10-part story time, like Risa Tisa did, who the F did I work for? And it quickly started a lot of things online. Oh my goodness. So let's go ahead and discuss this interview. Give me one moment. I'm going to bring it up in a little bit, but I just felt like with this situation, it got really complicated because with people trying to figure out what happened, people trying to understand how did it get so bad so quickly. And unfortunately, this is just a situation of who's right, who's wrong, and how did we end up here? So let's go take a look. I did not react to Kita, but I for sure will I would like to see more details about this prior to continuing. I believe Kita did an interview with Tasha K, and that itself needs to be studied. But all in all, tonight with this interview, I think we have quite a bit to catch up on. So let me pull up the video.
After a while, you're going to get a hole in it. I've never told anyone I've had sexual contact with any man.
Yeah.
However, when I was a minor, there was some traumatic, inappropriate things that happened to me. My father went to jail when I was 2 or 3, and he spent 10, 12 years in jail. A lot of my siblings have been in and out of jail. A lot of my uncles and cousins are not here anymore. In that moment, I felt abandoned.
Yeah.
1 minute you have all your family, next minute you don't. Your whole center of universe, your friends, your family,
community.
your support system, your because those were the people that you were encouraged to hang out with. Everyone else was worldly, right? They could be potentially bad influences. Right. So all I had was that. And so overnight, so then you spiral into this deep depression.
Yeah.
You don't have, now I'm a 20-year-old man with no guidance, no family. I have paid 100% of every contract I've ever had.
Wow.
I don't have any, when I tell you I don't owe nobody,
So this is how we starting with the lies? Oh, okay. This is a mess. This is a mess already. I can already see it. I can already feel it. This is about to be a mess. And honestly, I'm not saying believe all women, but it is Women's History Month. And this is if if this is the preview of this interview, my God today. In the words of Six God, is my God today. God, I see we're about to have a lot of gaslighting going on based on this intro. So let's go ahead. Let's keep going.
Do you realize that when you enroll in certain Medicare plans, you could be stuck in that plan the rest of your life? Because once you've been on Advantage plan, more than
First of all, that ad right there is wrong. I don't like when they do these type of ads and they lie in it. First of all, I do insurance with Medicare, and that's a complete lie. But that's besides the point of today's live. But you're not stuck with that plan. That's crazy. You get to have a different plan every year. But let's start.
Hey, family, welcome to Jamal Bryant's podcast, Let's Be Clear. I don't know whether you're watching it at 3 a.m. or 12 noon or 9 o'clock in the morning, but this is not tonight's conversation. This is Let's Be Clear with Jamal Bryant, but I have the one, the only, a pioneer, an influencer, a thought leader.
You know, I'm kind of not surprised that this man went to a pastor to do this interview. You know, he could have went to the terrace to do this interview, but no. He chose a pastor, another philanderer. A pastor's usually the ones that bamboozle women in Christianity, but like attract like attract like attract like, but we listen, we don't judge, right? But I'm judging. I don't care.
I'm going to call him a relationship counselor, but he's doing the daggone thing. For those of you who are under 20, it is not Ace Ventura, it's Ace Metaphor.
Appreciate it.
I'm glad to have you.
I'm glad to be here. Honestly, I'm glad.
Why would they? Ace Ventura is a millennial thing. Actually, no. Ace Ventura is a Gen X thing. It's not like a 80s baby thing. Oh, okay. Why would a Gen Z mix that up with? Oh, okay. All right. Weird. So weird.
Glad to be here.
No, it means a lot. I told our team before you came in, before I ever read your bio, I said, this man got to do poetry.
Oh yeah, I started there.
Game recognized game. Ain't no way in the world your name is Ace.
Not game recognized game. Not game recognized game. What I said. What I said. What I said, y'all. Shame. 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 Annoying. Shame. Game recognized game. Cause they both gamers. Lord have mercy. You got Ace Metaphor with this cheating ass pastor. Whoo, child. Ghetto. Mm, mm, mm.
metaphor, and you ain't writing poetry.
Yes. I started writing poetry as a teenager. Actually, like I was not the perfect student.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I would get good grades, but behavior wise, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
And so like I was never really interested. And I had a teacher that I thought absolutely despised me.
Yeah.
But she gave us an assignment. It was 11th grade English. And she gave an assignment, and it was to write a poem. And at that point, I had never written a poem before.
Wow.
And I wrote a poem and then just forgot about it. I did it real fast, forgot about it because I wanted to do an assignment.
Right.
Long story short, like 3 months later, she had published a book, and she held me after class, and she opened the book of all the class's poems, and she put mine first.
Wow.
And she said, "You have a gift here.
Yeah.
You have a talent."
Yeah.
And coming from, like, we never had that connection.
Yeah.
So it made me believe it more. And from that point, like, poetry has been something that has got me through some tough times.
Yeah.
Got me through some good times.
Yeah.
And it's been a way I can go back and chronicle or look at my life and remember where I was, so I can hopefully avoid some pitfalls.
Yes.
But then also it's a roadmap to finding my happiness again. So it's how I got my name, Ace Metaphor.
Yeah. I knew it.
Yeah.
Without knowing the 11th grade, I knew it. I introduced myself to people who are not in church, in marketplace creatives. I'm a spoken word artist. I'm not a preacher.
Right?
My sister.
You know, for someone who used to be in the poetry scene, I'm here to tell you, like, a lot of these poetry Negroes are the most toxic ass man I've never met in my life. Because they know how they're great with words, and women fall in love with words for the most part. So they know how to manipulate. They're the worst kind of niggas. They know how to talk. They know how to project. They know how to perform on stage. And if he started early, he was diabolical early. Lord, the stories I have about poetry niggas, I just know. I just know he's been diabolical. I just know it.
Sister won the Boston Poetry Slam years ago.
Ooh, that's
and I used to travel with her. My mother used to make us memorize poems.
Yes.
While we were growing up. When I was at Morehouse, I was in school with Saul Williams. So it's always been in my orbit, in my universe. And I think that the thing that is absent from the culture is a proliferation of poets.
I agree.
That's what is missing from this new Harlem Renaissance.
Yes.
We got music, we got fashion, we got movies, we got politics.
Yeah.
But let the poets speak.
Now we need to bring them back.
Yeah. You got to do a spinoff.
Hey, yo, we were talking about it because oddly enough, when I first casted the first batch of tonight's conversation, this is 3 years ago in January, I casted like 30 people to come, and we ran 2 different rooms. But a vast majority of those people were poets.
Wow.
Because I met on the circuit.
That was the world you in.
So,
I'm here to tell you guys this. All of this marketing and virality of tonight's conversation literally happened in 2 years. 2 years. 2 years. This is how much, you know, if you truly put the time in, within a year from now, you can be viral. You can have a booming business, but you got to put the time and the dedication and the content. Can you imagine in 2 years' worth, this man is grossing $500,000? Grossing $500,000 to pay a staff full of like 10 people plus camera crew. plus travel expenses. This is not an easy feat. So the momentum is there if you truly put the time in.
So Trip Fontaine
Yeah.
was a poet, or is still a poet.
Yeah.
Just Mike the poet, myself, Jay Martinez the poet, Kayla.
Trip was a poet? Oh my God. I can't stand it. I knew it. Because I knew Trip was a mess when he said something about ethical non-monogamy. Nigga, what is that? What is that? Ethical non-monogamy sounds like giving you the right to cheat on me, and I'm stupid enough to go along with it. That's what that means to me. It's a mess. It's a mess.
Love the poet, Brandon Alexander Williams. So our first shoot that I remember having for tonight's conversation was 7 poets there.
Amazing.
Yeah.
No, that's great. I did my doctoral dissertation on the theology of Shakespeare.
Oh, man.
That a lot of people don't know that Shakespeare went to seminary and he dropped out his last year and said he could reach more people through the arts than from a pulpit.
Yeah.
The amount of people that you are reaching is that you are doing nothing more. I don't care how you try to package it. You doing conversational poetry.
Yes.
Yeah, because it
Not for nothing. Them chairs look real comfortable. I want to get me one of those so I can sit up like that too when I talk to y'all on camera. Looks real official. I like them chairs.
makes you think from abstracts. It is going to give you a curveball, but when you shoot straight, it's between the eyes.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think that that's where people really resonate with you, is not just in your authenticity, but in your rhythm.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Do you ever write pieces that you won't ever perform or print that's just for you?
I need to.
Mm-hmm.
Deep in the oldest part of Cairo, there's a mysterious salon known as the Crown Temple, run by a group of Black women in their 70s and 80s with hair so thick.
So like, I'm getting to a phase of my life where I'm realizing that the audience I need to impress the most is myself.
Mm-hmm.
When I write, I was always thinking about lessons for other people.
Yeah.
Stories for other people, using myself as the guinea pig for the story, but not necessarily the beneficiary of the story.
Wow.
And like in this season in my life, I'm realizing how much I have put life rafts on everyone else, because that's what you want to do. But then sometimes you look around and be like, man, am I drowning?
Yeah.
You know? And so I'm at this season where if this interview with you or this chapter in my life was themed, it's put your action mask on first.
Mm.
And I think that this is not uncommon for a lot of people, because you've been taught to do unto others, right? You've been taught to do good for others and this, that, and other. But oftentimes you can care about somebody else's mental health, but are you concerned about yours? You can care about somebody else's spiritual growth, but are you?
You know, I'm having a hard time receiving this message. I could be biased, right? But when I understand what poetry and spoken word does for people, it is a extension of themselves that they write about what they've went through, what they would like to shed, what they would like to overcome. And some poets do the for the people type of poetry, right? Some. But most of the time, poetry is introspective. Poetry is introspective. It's all about you. It is all about you. Poetry is meant to be introspective. So I'm having a hard time understanding how he was writing poetry for other people, but it wasn't healing himself. Because most of the time, poetry is supposed to be a healing effect. It's supposed to be a healing effect because you are using, like his name, metaphors and similes and juxtaposition of how you feeling, what you're going through, what would you like your partner to look like, how angry you are that you're not getting the right type of love, how you wish to have type of love. It's all introspective. So I'm having a hard time understanding like how he himself did not necessarily use poetry to be introspective and not get the healing that he needed, unless he was being performative. No pun intended. A lot of men don't use what they're supposed to be using for the sake of what poetry is supposed to be. So, because if you're telling me that you came up as a poetry artist, as a poet, as a spoken word artist, and you didn't use poetry to heal, then you were just being performative. You were doing it to get bitches. I'm sorry. You were doing it for, you were doing it for the wrong reason. Poetry is supposed to help you express yourself. But if you only creating poems that only help other people in to serve other people, you're writing it for them. You're not writing for you. Because when you write for you, the right people will be reached because they see themselves in you. It's that human to human relationship that we have from one another, that we're able to relate from one another. That's why we have parasocial relationship with celebrities, because we feel like we can relate to some of them. So for me, if Ace is talking about how like in his poetry time, he was not necessarily like writing for himself, he was writing for other people, then why were you doing poetry? It was performative. He didn't really try to do poetry for that. He's trying to get bitches.
Concerned about yours.
Yeah.
And you can be a good person to a lot of people, but you can be bad to yourself.
Woo!
And so right now, the metaphor that I want to have for this chapter is write a poem for yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what I want to do going forward.
No, I can't wait to read it.
I know, right?
Yeah, if you ever put it out,
know, right?
yeah, don't put it in your Judy Blume diary. Let us all read it.
Yes, sir.
But part of the handicap that givers have is being a lifeguard.
Yeah.
That you know how to protect other people's heart while you leave yours vulnerable.
Yeah.
And that's why artists, creatives, poets, a lot of famous poets had suicide, had depression, had alcoholism, because we are empaths.
Yeah.
We emote. And I can't even imagine in the last 6 months how much emotion has been rested on your shoulder.
Yeah.
And then you got to function.
Right, Pastor Jamal Bryant. For some reason, all this turmoil, quote unquote turmoil, for the past 6 months, and when you asked him, wait, 7 minutes ago, at 2 minutes in, if he's been writing poetry, he said no, he ain't write nothing. If he was truly a poet, if he was truly someone who's in tune with his emotion, like he just said, Pastor Jamal Bryant, that poets emote, right? Why he ain't write nothing? Did he journal at least? He ain't writing out one poem. But yet he wants to call this his season of writing a poem to yourself. Really, Negro? That is what we're doing. Oh, okay. Right. Okay, boo. Okay.
At a high level.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you find that Cirque du Soleil balancing act?
Well, I find it difficult at times.
Yeah.
Now I have really great people in my corner to keep me going.
Yeah.
But I've been running for a while, right?
Yeah.
Like I've been running. I've been in in machine mode, project to project for a while, since 2013. Project to project, tour to tour, show to show, podcast to podcast. This has been one of the very few times that I've sat down and stood still for a while. And it's ironic that standing still is where problems catch up with you that you've been running away from.
Yeah.
There's a lot of thoughts. There's a lot of opportunities from growth that I've missed by being too consumed in the mission instead of being consumed with the man of me.
Yeah.
And so right now it's just like work-life balance was never in my vocabulary until now. I'm trying to find that work-life balance.
Yeah.
Because when you don't have that, you miss things.
Yeah.
You miss the important things, the important moments, the important people, the important lessons.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm a work in progress when it
Yeah.
comes to balancing the busyness. Because you think about it. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people in your audience can relate. There's a lot of people that depend on you moving forward.
Yeah.
Because when you stay still, they maybe they can't eat for the season.
Right.
And there's some guilt associated with that, right? Because it's like, okay, I know I need a break.
Yeah.
But can they afford a break? And so you just challenge yourself to keep going and going and going. So I'm managing. Now I don't want it to seem like all is lost. I do have a lot of fun and I be around my friends, but turning 35 or I'm about to be 36 is just, I want to learn the word rest.
Yeah. James Baldwin talked about survivor's guilt.
Yeah.
That you're made to feel bad for doing well.
Yeah.
But you have to really figure out, are they going to eat, but is my soul going to starve?
Yeah.
It's a critical moment for a lot of us as givers, providers, and nurturers. That a curse word is self-care.
Yes. Yeah.
I feel bad to turn my phone off.
Well, yeah.
That I'm not answering every text because I don't want you to think I'm standoffish or I'm acting brand new, but I'm emotionally.
Yeah.
My phone gets more of a charge than I do.
Yeah. Because, to say yes to yourself sometimes mean you got to say no to another person.
Yeah.
And that's difficult.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially if you care about that person, it's difficult to say that. So yeah, I can see why self-care to a lot of people.
Yeah.
It just seems like, man, I don't have children, but you got people with children. It's like, you want to get your, but like, so saying yes to yourself in that spa day, may mean that this person ain't going to karate practice.
Wow.
And so then you just keep snowballing to, okay, when you going to take care of yourself? Yeah. There's always somebody that needs you. And I love what you have said, like, cause always.
There's the thing, like, you're not responsible for someone else's well-being either. So you can't put that much of heavy burden on yourself, because that will run you crazy. That will run you crazy. But here's my thing with that. Like, he's saying, like, he's been hustling since 2013, going from touring to touring, show to show, podcast to podcast. I wonder, like, why do you keep switching podcasts? Did you have a fallout with all these different podcasts that you kept moving from one to another? Me, like, I had two podcasts, well, two shows. I had no falling out. I'm still cool with Fresh and Sabine, right? So I'm still cool with everybody. I don't know. Because lo and behold, one of these shows that you left was Derek Jackson. And we know, like attract like. So he was a philanderer. And you were working with him. And now you're over here being interviewed by another philanderer. Like attract like. It's so funny. You know what's crazy too? I'll probably say the same thing if he were to do the interview with Laterris, because Laterris is also a recent philanderer in his marriage. But Like attract like. Like attract like. So I'm not surprised. Not surprised at all. Come on.
Think of like that shield portion, right? Like you want to shield the people you care about from certain things. But then you look at a shield when it's done being used.
Ooh,
It's dented
and bloody.
Yeah.
I got pieces of somebody else's uniform on my shield.
And that's why the self-care is important, because without you refurbishing and renewing it and getting it back to fighting condition, so to say, after a while, you're going to get a hole in that shield and you're not going to be able to protect nobody.
No,
So,
it's important.
Yeah.
After the pandemic, the mosque was in no rush to reopen.
Yeah.
The synagogue was in no rush to reopen. The Baha'i temple was in no rush to reopen.
Mm-hmm.
But the Kingdom Hall and the Black Church were.
Mm-hmm.
Because those two entities never really fostered devotion at home.
Yeah.
It was you had to come here to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of us who grew
Or y'all just open because y'all need money. I'm just saying.
grew up either in Kingdom Hall or in the church had the process different when the sanctuary is a draining space.
Yeah.
This is not where I'm going to get refueled. It's where I'm going to work. It's where I'm going to train. And I know you've had your own journey coming through. On my side of the aisle is church hurt. Side of the aisle, it may be kingdom trauma. But I want you to walk through that you are a part of, only way I can say it, you have the same faith as Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
That's all I know is Michael Jackson and Ace.
I'm gonna put it this way. Being a Jehovah's Witness, at that time of my life, absolutely saved my life. My mother, found, they call it the truth, found the truth when I was about 8 or 9. And
where you from?
I'm from Dayton, Ohio.
Okay.
So she found the truth when I was 8 or 9. All of my family were Jehovah's Witnesses, but it took a while for her to go and say, you know what, I want to get baptized. This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
But I look at that experience for all of the rest of the stuff that I'm about to say and say that had it not been for my mom finding the Kingdom Hall at that moment, I wouldn't be here sitting with you.
Wow.
My father, this is something that's not new. He wrote a book, so I'm going to say it. My father went to jail when I was 2 or 3. And he spent 10, 12 years in jail. A lot of my siblings have been in and out of jail. A lot of my uncles and cousins are not here anymore. And being in that flock shielded me from a lot of the dangers other children that didn't have that blanket and that shield would have otherwise gotten into. I have a direct comparison to say this path we went on kept me out of the way.
That's a blessing.
All right. So that's the first thing I want to say. And before I get into the other things, the second thing is
paying your bills on time raises your credit score, right? Wrong.
there was so much love at the Kingdom Hall that I never wanted to be outside the Kingdom Hall. However, growing into your own individuality, I got baptized when I was 11 years old. And so when you get baptized as a Jehovah's Witness, it is a lifelong commitment.
Right.
It is not, you can
skipping around.
Yeah, you can just change your mind later. So when I was 11 years old, I made a decision to get baptized. And that meant that I was agreeing to live to biblical principles according to that organization, which meant obviously no premarital sex, you know, all the things that we're going to name, right? I was 11 though. So at 11, I didn't know what sex was.
Right.
And then, I ended up.
You know, I don't agree to letting children baptize so early because they don't know what they're accepting. They truly don't know what they're accepting. Now, I think the presentation in front of the church can be good because you're allowing the flock to know this is my child. Please help me guide them in the best way possible. But baptized at 11? I think that's a little much. You know, it's the beginning of the religious development, right? They're learning about God, they're learning about spirituality, they're learning about other people's walks with God based on the Bible stories. But I think it's too monumental of a walk, of a religious walk, because if anything, religion requires discipline. How are you going to have discipline at 11 years old? that just doesn't make any sense, right? Now you can instill some form of discipline to your children because they live with you and you want to shield them from a lot of wrongdoings and people trying to convince them, persuasion, coercion, and you can do your best as a parent. But truthfully, deciding to get baptized should be an adult decision. I don't believe in churches trying to baptize young children. I think that's unnecessary because you will also start putting a lot of shame building into these children, and you're allowing them to live in fear because all they know now is that like they have accepted to go along this path, and anything they do is going to, like, any action they make is going to be made in fear because they have such a strong implementation of religious belief in them at such a young age. And they will be so sheltered because they won't know to make decisions for themselves. Because as we know, as a Christian, your walk is personal, right? So we have the will to choose. We have the will to go into God and follow the biblical aspects of Christianity. So if I were to follow as an adult, right? I'm in my 30s. So as an adult, I have a better understanding of the world. I have a better understanding of what discipline looks like because I had a chance to grow up. I had a chance to go through things that I have wisdom, right? Right. So in the formality of having wisdom, instilling wisdom and fear is not the same thing into someone that's younger than 20 years old. They would not know how to move unless it's in fear. I used to live in so much fear of anything that I do that I'm going to go to hell. Every single time that like my parents ask me a question, I think about like, okay, do I really want to answer this? And if I answer this and I lie, I'm going to hell. I think that's people talk about church hurt, but I think people don't understand how like you are making the person really live in fear versus living in acceptance. Living in acceptance of being a Christian means that okay, I have a sound mind, and if I'm choosing to go that route, that is fully my choice, not because my parents made me do it, not because the church made me do it, not because that I feel like it should be the right thing to do, but not the ultimate thing to do because this is my choice. So young baptism, I don't agree with that, but you guys can give me your opinions in the comments if you agree with getting baptized before you turn 18. Let's keep going.
up getting disfellowshipped from the Kingdom Hall.
At 11?
No, I was 19.
Okay.
I got disfellowship when I was 19. And, you know, it was premarital sex.
With somebody else who went there
Yes,
or outside?
yes, someone
Okay.
that was there. And we got disfellowship together. And
sidebar.
Mm-hmm.
Who told?
Man, listen.
Listen. I want to know about snitching.
So
we
right.
about Big
I'm gonna
Meech.
tell you what happened.
Yes.
So I moved out when I was 18.
Yes.
I moved out and I had got a roommate. Shout out to my man. We cool now. Okay. Back in the day we were so cool. So I had a roommate.
He was in Kingdom Hall?
He was, but he got disfellowship before I did.
Yes.
And so that was witness number one. Right? That was witness to the crime. The crime number one.
Yes.
Then number two was when me and my ex, when we had moved in together, nobody knew about it.
Yeah.
But my second friend that also got disfellowshipped needed a place to stay. So
you trying to help somebody?
So I let him stay in my apartment, and then I went to go stay at her apartment. And so that was the two witnesses.
You see, people around you will make you fail. Look at that. It's those people, boy. I'm trying to tell you. They don't want to see you win. That man, Tyler told that man saying he had sex. You were 18. You were 19. First of all, le salut est personnel. Why are you telling him on my business?
They came.
Okay, but here's my question.
Yeah.
On a technicality.
Mm-hmm.
How were they able to testify when they had lost?
I didn't. So look, okay. So this is the real.
They're not credible witnesses.
Yes, they're not. And that's what I thought, right?
Yes.
But ultimately, I will say this. I didn't know it then, but I know it now. Again, oftentimes when you're in that season and you're in the mousetrap, you can't see that this was the best thing that happened to you. Oftentimes it's 10 years later and you be like, okay, that was the best thing that ever happened to me. I got disfellowship not because they came forward, it's because me and her lied about it.
Ooh.
We were untruthful because to your point, I'm like, they ain't got no case.
Right.
They ain't I mean, these people don't count.
Right.
So me and her lied about it. And that's why I got disfellowshipped. And I've been running ever since.
Before you go down that trail, again, I know very limited. I got to ask you this. Does the kingdom often offer a restoration process?
Yes.
Okay.
So had I had chosen to submit to the discipline, because it's an act of love, it's discipline. If I had chosen to submit, it could have been, 6 months to a year, and I could have got back reinstated.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I got reinstated once and then got disfellowship again.
Right.
So and even now, they've also because my I got elders that still call and check on me. They still even though I'm disfellowship, they still reach out to try to get me to come back.
Nice.
They've recently changed some stuff where if you go to the hall now, they'll greet you. Because for a long time, you didn't get greeted, So they've made some improvements to welcome those sheep that were lost back. But then also at the same time, there's more of an emphasis to keep you there instead of saying,
Be out.
So my experience is a 15 to 16-year-old experience.
Yes.
The light there has gotten brighter. But here's the challenge. I'm saying this to you, and I know this is going to be counterproductive.
Yes.
The challenge is,
most people have no clue that in 2024, the best way to make money with Amazon.
I love who I am.
You know what I realized is that churches are realizing that if they kick you out too fast, they're not going to have flock, and they need money to keep going. So they're going to find a way to keep you there. Because if you don't have members, you don't have a church. If you don't have members, you don't have money. If you don't have money, then you can't pay for the building. You can't pay for the pastor's rent bills. You can't pay for the light bill in the building. Like you need people. This is a business after all. You know, it's funny. I joke about this because when I was 16, I was 16 years old, and I was having a conversation with my mother, and I was like, "Mom, I think when I get older, I want to own a church." She was like, "What do you mean own a church?" I said, "Yeah, I think I want to own one." She's like, "How? What do you mean by that?" I said, "Well, you know, I just feel like I can, you know, run run a church. I'll hire pastors, I hire deacons, and then boom, I have a church. They just have to work for me, and then I pay them." And I was dead serious. My dad set up so fast. He was like, "What you talking about?" My dad was like, "You can't run no church." I said, "Why not? Why can't I own a church?" He was like, "Because you're not a pastor." I said, "I don't need to be a pastor to own a church. A church is a business." Mind you, like I'm 16 talking like this with my parents, and they like it just would not make sense to them why I wanted to own a church. To me, it made sound business sense. I grew up on watching Benny Hinn and Joel Osteen. To me, I see a huge building. I see 300 plus people in one building, and I see how every service ching. I was 16. Like honestly, and I think I was about 8 years old. I was 8 years old. I was in Haiti. Okay. The way I see pastors do sermon when they want money is a lot different than when they do sermons when they just want to just to teach. Okay. So I seen the game. I remember like going from revival to revival because my godparents who I lived with before I came to the US, because my parents came to the US before me, I saw the game. Like it's a different way that they preach when they want you to come up from their pockets. Come up, give me that money. Give me that $100. If you believe God got you, come up here and sow $100. Sow $50. Sow $75. Who wants to sow $1,000? On my mama. I was 12 years old when I went to when I first came to the US. My parents' church had a massive revival for 40 days. And one of these pastors came from Miami. I remember his face. I don't remember his name, but that man right there, that man is a hustler. I remember watching him perform. I said, "Look at this man." And I watched the flock. I'm like, and they all eating this up. And they are eating this up. And I was like, I got no more money to give. I got $2 for you. That's all I got. I mean, granted, I was only 12 years old, but I was just like, I seen people go up there twice. One person went up there 3 times to drop off some money. I said, dang, that's how you do it. I want some money too. I want some money. And then when I kept watching, you know, big churches, mega churches here, Benny Hinn, and like I went to one Benny Hinn service when he came to Orlando. My parents were there because they believe for some reason that they were going to heal my sister who was born disabled, right? That is the strong faith of a mustard seed, that my sister will be delivered and she'll walk again type. And I was just like, all right, cool. I don't care. I'll go. But like literally, like he filled the Kia Center. Back then it used to be called TD Ameritrade, right? And the whole place was packed. And I was like, This is how many people that came for a pastor, not a celebrity, a pastor, booking a whole arena, and they all in there singing, praising, and stuff like that, and giving money. Y'all come here for miracles, when from my understanding, from the Bible perspective, your relationship with God is personal. Only he can heal you. Only he can. Oh, okay. But we come in here for pastors because all of a sudden, like they have what the direct line of God. It just wasn't making sense to me. So in my mind, I said, "This is a business, and I want in. I want in." Not to mention, like I have pastors in my family. This is a full-blown business. So if you don't have members, you don't have a church. It's the same it's the same situation with having a business. If you don't have clients, you don't have customers, you don't have a business. Because businesses needs to make money. They need to make profit. The expenses of having a business, like a church, you have to pay salaries, you have to pay for the actual building, your rent, you have to pay for the lighting, you have to pay for your sound people, you have to pay for your musicians. It's a full-blown business. So like when I was 16, I told my parents, yeah, I want to own a church. I don't have to be a pastor. I could just be their employer. And I was straight up. I had a phone call from I had to have a stern conversation with my grandfather at the time, and he didn't like that. He didn't like that very much. My granddad was a pastor for like at least 50 years. I'm saying 50, but I don't remember how old he was when he died. He was probably 70 something. But honestly, my grandfather had a big ass church, a mega church in Haiti, and I just knew he didn't want to hear none of that, because for him, he was one of those like not an extremist Christian, but he was one of those like who doesn't believe women have a spot in leadership. Those type of people, those type of pastors where women are not supposed to be pastors. Mm-hmm. So he was definitely offended when I said I want to have a church, because he just did not believe that women deserve to be in leadership. I don't like men like that. I never respected him for that. And God rest his soul. But I just don't understand. Belittling women in general, I don't understand men who do that. I feel like there's a special place in hell for men who think that women don't deserve to be leadership. Women have no power. They don't deserve anything nice. He was that kind of man. But yeah, this is a long soliloquy to say that when Pastor Jamal Bryant was just talking about how like, oh, do they have a returning prospect? Because Ace Metaphor is from the Seventh-day Adventist type of church, right? That type of denomination. And with them, they have a kick out method. I think you call it defellowshipping. And apparently things have changed with that denomination to where like they stop kicking people out, because they realize, well, if we keep kicking people out for not following, for not being too disciplined, we ain't gonna have no members in the church. People are gonna keep leaving because their eyes are opening up. They realize that this is a mess. People are gonna be people, right? So no matter where you go, job or church, people are gonna be people, and people have flaws. People will treat you how they want to treat you, no matter if they are in a church, no matter if they are at a job or at any type of interchangeable audience based location. So if you ever feel like you need to conform, then do so. But people in leadership are going to be weird. There's going to be a weird energy of all combined leaders. You're going to have disagreements. Some will make rash decision, and truly you can't take fault in that, because people are going to be people. Just accept that you make your own decision. You can only feel bad for making your own mistakes. So you can't fault leaders for doing stupid shit, because they're gonna do stupid things, right? Just accept it and be like, you know what? It is what it is. Thank you. Have a great day. So I can go on and on about church, but let's keep playing this damn interview.
Am now. Right?
Yeah.
10-year-old experience.
Yes.
The light there has gotten brighter, but here's the challenge. I'm saying this to you, and I know this is going to be counterproductive.
Yes.
The challenge is I love who I am now. Right?
Yeah.
I could go back to being a Jehovah's Witness, but I don't know if I would love that version of me.
Mm.
And it's tough because I've grown up with that being my center of gravity.
Yeah.
I grew up and I still believe that Adam and Eve didn't disrupt God's plan for paradise earth.
Yeah.
No matter how many times I hear somebody else talk about
Right.
everybody's going to heaven, somebody going to hell, in my mind, I just believe that there will still be a paradise earth. That's what I believe.
Yeah.
Because it was so instilled in me.
Yeah.
I still remember the love there. I still remember, how I felt at the hall. But I know who I am now. And so, can I be who I am now there? And when I started to feel, to your part, the church hurt,
Yeah.
it's because I felt like I was becoming an individual at the time. And obviously I was a teenager. So you know how that goes.
Oh, yes.
And I felt that it wasn't a place for me.
Mm-hmm.
I can say this confidently, now at 35 though, that a lot of the reasons why I felt the way I felt, because those were real emotions then.
Yeah.
Even though now with more perspective, I can see something differently.
Yes.
But in that moment, I felt abandoned.
Yeah.
1 minute you have all your family, next minute you don't.
Whew.
Your whole center of universe, your friends, your family,
community.
your support system, your community, because those were the people that you were encouraged to hang out with. Everyone else was worldly, right? They could be potentially bad influences.
Right.
So all I had was that. And so overnight, so then you spiral into this deep depression.
Yeah.
You don't have, now I'm a 20-year-old man with no guidance, no family, no support. Like I had to make it. I
Yeah.
couldn't go back and call somebody for help.
Yeah.
And so those were real emotions. So how I feel about that, if I think about it too long, I'll sit here and cry. But as a 36-year-old man with perspective,
Yeah.
I think they did what they needed to do. I think at the time, I could have tainted the congregation with the way I was thinking.
Yeah.
And with the way I was moving with the women in the congregation.
Yeah.
And the fact that I wasn't honest about my transgressions.
Mm.
And now I look at it, I say, if I was a witness now and I got this fellowship,
Yeah.
I'd be like, I didn't want to talk to y'all anyway.
Right.
And I'll still go to the hall, because the main reason I will go is for the word or for the Bible or for
instruction.
But at 20 or 19, your whole social circle is there.
Yeah.
So my bad for getting on a tangent, but
No. It was great.
it was like it's such a battle between me, right? Because I feel so hurt about what happened. because those emotions were real.
Yeah.
But now, as a grown man, I have perspective on it.
No, it's great.
With everything that's been going on, even though I haven't talked to those people, my family, in 15 years. They called me because they heard about some of the stuff that's going on. And yo, I love you.
Ooh,
Are you all right? If you need anything.
that's what family is.
And so, like, I know that there is love there.
Yeah.
And I wish I could go back so I can be a family again with them. But again, and I know this about to sound, I don't know how it's going to sound, but I'm going to say it. I don't think I can love the version of me back there. And so, like, even though I know that that means that I will never have a consistent relationship with my family.
Why do so many folks over 40 with type 2 start walking like this? If you take metformin...
I'm okay with that choice.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to say that out loud.
But just be open to it.
Yeah.
There is not any butterfly that's in remorse about no longer being a caterpillar.
Yeah.
So going backwards is an unenviable position.
Yeah.
And moving forward, as you look back over your own journey, your own path, how did the church pushing you towards marriage at 19 shape you for being this voice that speaks into relationship?
You know what? Yes. So let me talk about that. So it's interesting, right? I feel like I've just become a bigger version of my younger self, right?
Yeah.
Because my uncle, who was a witness at the time, I mean, when I was 11, 12, you know that saying, out of the mouth of babes.
Yeah.
He would always say that.
Yeah.
Because I was always like relationship oriented and I a great orator, if that's the word. But it was commonplace. Like, people getting married young was commonplace at the hall. And I don't know if that's how it is at churches now, but to see somebody married, a couple married at 18 or 19.
Very uncommon.
It was common then.
Now it's hard to get people 29 to get married.
I know, but so here's the thing.
Yes.
So at the hall, because there is more of a strictness on fornication, it is better to have gotten married than to fall into that fornication.
Yeah.
Now, again, I don't want to speak I'm speaking from my experience and what I remember. And it may not be the general thing, right? And so it wasn't uncommon. And then it wasn't uncommon for people to get disfellowshipped and think that they're outsmarting the system.
Oh, yes.
And then get married. So check it. The day I'm 20, she 19. The day after we got disfellowship, we went down to the Justice of the Peace and got married.
Wow.
But day after, because you
with the girl you got disbanded for.
Yes.
So let me ask you this: after you got married, that didn't even the board and be like, okay, come on home. You did it right.
It would have, right? It would have if we had.
If you didn't lie. It would have if you didn't lie about it. That's the thing. If you guys were honest and then y'all got married, probably got bring you guys back into the fold. But the thing is, you guys lied about having sex and y'all got married right after that. See, the thing is, like, I understand, making kids get married early, but making kids get married at 18 years old, I think that's a recipe for disaster, in my opinion. That's a recipe for disaster. I appreciate him saying how this version of him would not go back to religion because he's a different person. I think a lot of times it can go two ways. Anyone who has left the church for either being kicked out or some other form of church hurt, if they went through the journey of self-awareness and discovery about who they are, they don't need the church in reality unless they actually choose religion. They don't have to choose religion. Now, they can choose God. They can choose to believe in God, believe in something spiritual. But being in the environment of a church, I don't see that as a necessary need, but I can see how it can go that route based on someone's choice to be in the church. Maybe they need community or they want community. It wouldn't be a need of sort to be in the church. It would just be a situation where they choose to be in the church. So I think like anyone over 35, they know who they are by then. They know their shortcomings, their good qualities, their, you get settled into who you are after a while, right? So if we're being honest, I can see how he's saying like this version of him would not do well with Jehovah Witness, and I wouldn't blame him. He's a different person. I think in a lot of ways, the same way that the army builds stamina, builds discipline, builds follow the leader type of training for young boys. It's the same thing that church does with people. Church has a way of training the mind of young people to the point where they feel like they need it because they have no sense of self yet, right? If you have no sense of self, then yes, the church will mold you into who they want, mold you into becoming what it is said in the Bible. However, once you start, coming to your own, your brain starts to develop a little bit more as an adult, and you're like, wait a minute, I don't have to do this. I don't have to be in this regimented lifestyle unless I choose to be, right? So the thing is, we get to a point where we like, okay, everything is hard. Being poor is hard, having a job is hard, having a business is hard, having religion is hard, having a healthy lifestyle is hard. Just choose your hard, right? You'll have hard days, you have good days. However, when you don't get to choose your path, you just fall into this train of thought that like this is all you've known. So you've been manipulated to think a certain way and not being given the choice. Because from my understanding, Jesus Christ gave you the choice to choose the kingdom of God or not. So forcing kids to do things that they're not ready for, that's not of God, in my opinion. That's not of God. That is not of God. I think that's doing them a disservice until they make the choice. I don't truly see people choosing religion unless they're like mid-20s. And I'm really settling in if they are mid-30s. Mid-30s, if they choose to be in the church, that is the path that they have chosen for the rest of their life. Because once you get to your 30s, you have settled into who you are, right? So if you decide, okay, this is the path I want to be on, let me be on the path. I could be in the path for the next 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. It doesn't matter. I just know like I choose this because this is what I want to do, right? It is the same way that someone can choose to be a bodybuilder. That is a form of training that they want to be. It's the same way that people choose to do pageants. That is a training that they want to be involved in. Someone who chooses to be a football player, that is a training that they have chosen to be a part in. However, two things I know are not full-blown choices are the army and the church at a young age. That is forced on you most times. And the regimented process of either one of those two things can truly impact someone's decision, their train of thought for the rest of their life. Someone who's been in the army definitely think differently. And don't let that person be a retired over 30 years in the army type of person. That person is engraved. You want to discuss cult? That is someone who's been in a cult. If you talk to a retired armed veteran who's been in there for at least 20 years, that person's mindset is engulfed with everything military, everything patriotic, everything about representing where they're from. That is all they're going to talk about, because they have been regimented to believe in a certain way, act a certain way, serve a certain way, walk a certain way. That is what they know, like the back of their hand. So that's all they're going to talk about. That's how they're going to act like. So if you found someone who's been religious since they were 5 years old and they never left to understand the world and then make the decision to come back and get baptized as an adult, that type of person is regimented in religion, and there's nothing you can tell them. Nothing you can tell them. God forbid you have the ones that left the church and they done went through so many things. They done, went gang banging. They've been in jail a few times, or someone has been, being a prostitute, or like just out here just having sex with multiple people, or just not like really taking care of their body. And then they're like, you know what? I've done too much. I've been outside too much. Let me give my life back to Christ. Those people who feel like they need God to save them and not save themselves, they feel like they can't do nothing else because they feel like this is how they're going to wipe all their sins away. That person, once they get back into church, nothing in this world. See, God, I'm like, nothing in this world would make that person leave again. Because that is the mindset that they have, that they need God to fix themselves, when truly, fully, they have a full active brain that can help them. You need everything, you have everything inside of you. Even the Bible said you were wonderfully made. You have everything inside of you to fix yourself. You don't need outside sources. You might need some mentors, but you don't need no outside sources, because God is within you. God is within you, my love. He is not outside of you. You don't need an outside source. You really don't. You really don't. Those who believe that God is somewhere out there in the ether, he's not. He's not. You just need to, God is not out there. God is within you. So you don't have like to be so engulfed. Now, if you need community, that's different. Some people join the church to have community. I might join the church to have community, but I don't really need the church to have God in my life. I think that's what makes me different from other people, and it makes it hard for me to have religion conversation with people, because I don't have an external validation need. I don't need validation. I don't need to be validated of my choices. I don't need religion to validate my choices for me. I'm grown. I know what's right from wrong. I know what I'm not supposed to do by this age, So you tell me not to steal? Yeah, if I steal, I'm gonna go to jail. If I rob people, I'm gonna go to jail. If I kill people, like the Bible said, don't kill people, like I'm gonna go to jail. Like, you think I don't know what's right from wrong? Are you serious? Do you really? Okay. Let me not get on a tangent about these validation needs that people have for religion. But let's play this video.
It would have. But I'm gonna tell you this: the person I was before I got this fellowship, and the person I was after, and the same for her. Again, I can stand tall on my individuality now, but without my support system now, I don't know what I would be doing.
Wow.
Right? So with all this going on in the internet today, that, everybody's watching can probably aware of what's going on in the internet today. If I didn't have my support system now, I don't know where I would be. Because
Well,
it's
glad
difficult.
you got it.
I am. Even being confident in my individuality, right? And confident in myself to, my esteem. I still need people around me now to help me get through this. Now, going back to being 20, getting this fellowship was hard, and I didn't have nobody. And she didn't have nobody.
Yeah.
And it's like something that a wise person would have been able to predict, but an inexperienced one wouldn't have seen that calamity coming.
Full
Because
steam
you
ahead.
like, all right, well, I mean, we good. I mean, we got to go.
You felt rejected. That is why you felt so sad. That your community, the family that you've known since you were 8 years old, since your mom got baptized and made you join the church with her, you felt like they kicked you out. You really felt rejected. You were disappointed. And that's why you felt alone. Like I said, people are going to be people, right? So if the family you thought that you had this whole entire time who would have your back did not have your back, especially your roommate. Your roommate really your roommate disowned you because he tell on you on something that's so supposed to be personal. Like, why tell my business? So your roommate told your business, got you kicked out of church, basically got you kicked. Can you imagine being kicked out of your family? Honestly, like your aunties, your cousins, your mom, your dad. Can you imagine being disowned by your family? Like you are no longer welcome. That is how it feels to be whatever the word he said, being kicked out of the church. Because he said these are the people that he grew up with. The man got baptized at 10 years old. That's how involved he was in the church, because he was so engraved and trained and manipulated in church that this is all he knew. So imagine from 8 years old down to 19 years old, 10 years, baby, you sucked in. This is your family member. You see these people every week. Your own family members, you don't see every week. You see them maybe like every quarter, right? Or every year, some change. You see these people every single week. You attend church. You might even go to as far as to attend Bible study. That's twice a week. You are seeing these people every week. This is your family. So to be kicked out at 19 years old, hell yeah, you would feel some type of way. You would feel so lost because you're like, wow, they really don't want me. It's the same way as that scene in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air where he was crying that his dad didn't want him. It's the same effect. It's the same effect. It's the same effect. Where you feel like you've been around these people for so long and it caught you by surprise, like, dang, I've been this in fellowship. They kicked me out, like, for real. Now I can't see these people no more. I can't be around my friends. I can no longer return. Now, this may not be as deep, but can you imagine getting fired and being trespassed? Like, you can't go back to that same building ever again. Being trespassed is the same thing. Like, you are no longer welcome. Yeah, I would definitely feel lost. I would definitely feel like, people don't want me. and I'm gonna go do my own thing. And I'm sure that was the beginning of him being a full-blown sinner. He said, well, since I don't have direction anymore, I'm just gonna do whatever. I'm just gonna do whatever. And we halfway through, and we still haven't heard anything that he said about Keita Rose. I'm still waiting. We're halfway through, and all he's talking about is his religious background. Come on, Fran. Can we move it up? Can we move it up, please, in this interview?
Good relationship. Like, let's go get married. And then it's like, hold on. Maybe we had this good relationship because we could always hang out with our friends together. Maybe we had this good relationship because I can call my mom and get advice, and you can call your dad and get advice. Maybe we had this good relationship because we were at the hall and we had this and we had this. And then maybe we had this good relationship because we were happy. And then I'm telling you, I don't think an ordinary person would be able to understand how that fast everything you know can change. Like it's equivalent to how I put it is it's equivalent to, and it's gonna sound extreme, but it's the truth. This is how I feel. This is my experience. It felt worse than death.
Oh yeah.
Because
wait, what felt worse than death? Get married or the
people disappearing?
Oh yeah.
Because they're there, but they're not there. Like fast forward now, this is 16 years later. There are people that I would see at the grocery store that's a family member, and we'll just walk right past each other.
Good grief.
So it's difficult. Now, it's difficult for the receiver of the discipline, obviously. And it's probably difficult for that person to fall in line with the structure of the organization, because in order for the discipline to work, people got to be in alignment.
And you got to compartmentalize that feeling.
So, but for the person experiencing it at 20, very difficult. So again, what pushed me to getting married at 20 was trying to circumvent and thinking that I was smarter than the rules. And yep.
How long into the marriage before you got divorced?
We separated a year and some change after that.
When they're disfellowshipping you, is that like a trial? Is that a council meeting? Is it old school? You guys stand in front of the church?
Now, I don't know how it is now.
Yes.
For me, it's a council of three. It's a council of 3 elders. These are like pastors or deacons or whatever. Right. Council of 3 elders. You go in and they give you an opportunity to
speak your piece
or confess, right?
Do they read the charges?
They hope to not. So like, had I had went in there and said, yes, I have been having premarital sex, and yes, it's been multiple different times, they probably wouldn't have had to prance out the other guys, right?
Yes.
But because I went and I wasn't truthful, now they pranced out the other men. And that is what I always go back and think, like, what if I was truthful?
Wow.
And I'm gonna say this, and this is what I'm learning at 35, 36. Man, if I did it, I did it. You know what I mean? Like, at this point,
don't lease it.
Right? I did it. I mean, I don't if I'm gonna do something, then I got to stand on it. But it's such a fear. Like, it's a fear because you know what the potential consequence was. And in my head, I couldn't rationalize the most important thing at that point should have been, how did God feel about what I was doing? But I was selfishly thinking about my access to my friends and my family. So if I could go back again, I would have been truthful. I definitely would have.
How do you think the hearing would have gone if at that moment you shared with the council what you were exposed to by church leaders?
Yeah. different. And I want to be clear and careful. What I was exposed to wasn't by a church leader. It was from someone within the church. But in me being clear, I want to say this specifically to you.
Yes.
Okay? Because by now, I just want to dispel this. I have never had sexual contact with any man. Ever. Ever. I've never told anyone I've had sexual contact with any man.
Yeah.
However,
Florida homeowners, did you know that right now you can get a brand new AC unit for your home at no cost to you?
when I was a minor, there was some traumatic, inappropriate things that happened to me that very few people knew about. And I just had to tell my mom about this.
Because of all that's happening on the internet?
Yes, that's how very few people knew.
Wow.
And
so that's a compromise of privacy, of confidentiality.
I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna go and be careful, but and I have to say this, the reason I'm being careful is because we're now in litigation about certain things.
Right.
All right. But I had just this past October had the courage to vaguely speak on it. Just this October.
Of 24.
Of 24.
Wow.
I've just had the courage to vaguely speak on it. And it's a new, this is what I would say.
Do you feel freer now that you've finally been able to articulate it? Because holding it can become a weight.
If I'm gonna be honest with you?
Yes.
I regressed it. It was in the recesses of my mind. It like my life as a Jehovah's Witness, my life being disfellowship, coming back, that whole thing was so traumatic to me.
Yeah.
That I put it over there and I started running. That's why I was saying I've been running ever since. I've been running. I've been
glad
distracted.
You're catching your breath.
Exactly. I've been distracted so long that it wasn't until October that I had the courage to, for the first time, say me too.
Yeah.
You know, and was unfortunate. And I'm being careful.
You're doing great.
Is that while there is some relief in that, it's been weaponized against me and perverted so much.
Yeah.
That it is re-traumatizing me.
I'm so sorry.
And
one of the problems of being looked up to is people feel like you're out of reach unless they can pull you down. And Dr. King has a quote that I like. You don't know that you're in the front until people start kicking you in your back.
But you're pulling down the 14-year-old boy in me.
Ooh.
You're not pulling me down.
Wow.
You pulling down the 14-year-old boy in me. You're not pulling me.
Yes.
And that's the part where I'm saying, like, in no world, there are a lot of things. I've been on the internet for a very long time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not shocked when people believe what they want to believe or say this and say that.
Right.
But certain things,
we need a support group.
Yeah, I know. It's certain things that's like, you would figure it's so out of bounds that even your worst enemy wouldn't try to use that.
Mm-hmm.
And so to just stick the landing on this, when you talk about that weight, I generally speaking, and sorry, I'm just trying to be careful.
No, take your time.
According to this, you should wear a cap to go with that outfit while sitting into his head. Please, I beg, Trey. It's giving he's in litigation to sue Keita, since he's saying, I gotta be careful, I'm in litigation. Okay, so you can't say much, but okay, I get like you can't say much about the litigation with Keita, but are you also suing your abuser? Because I need to know. Because if you're not suing your abuser, then tell us a story. What happened to you? You like stretching this, bro. We're 40 minutes in. I thought we were going to talk about Keita. What happened? What's going on?
Grooming works. If it's done right, grooming works.
Yes.
And if somebody is groomed properly enough, they may keep that secret for a lifetime. You know why?
Why?
Because when they get old enough, if they say, even hint to it, look at what's happening now. Now somebody's questioning your sexuality. Now somebody trying to say, well, why didn't you do this? I was 14. And that's all I want to say. I guess to put it in perspective, the very moments I started to confront what I needed to confront within myself, it was my story was taken away from me.
Yeah.
And now millions of people online know this perverted lie exaggeration of a story. And my voice has been taken away from me, man. And I'm gonna stick the landing by saying this. I got love for everybody. I got love for everybody.
Where is the tears? Where are the tears? I feel like they're like halfway coming. I kept waiting for the actual emotions. I thought you were a poet. Where are the emotions? What's going on? I kept waiting for it. I was like, okay, we get into it. So you were 14, got it. So between 14 and 19, 5 years to go, and then you became a whore. And from you becoming a whore, they kicked you out of the church, and now you feel bad. You married the person, but you still got disenfranchised from your family. They disowned you, but you strayed away. However, you feel like the story that you told other people about this. You felt like Keita is using it against you to shame you publicly, but yet I'm not getting the raw emotion from your situation. I can't even say what it is because you won't tell us what happened to you. So with that, you feel like it was being used against you, but I'm not getting the raw emotion of you feeling like someone took something from you. You can't claim me too, and we don't feel you too. What happened? Tell us.
I don't want nothing negative to happen to nobody. I want everybody to prosper. I want all the supporters, all the fans, everybody to prosper.
You want everybody to be prosperous. But yet you suing Keita Rose when you the one that owe her money. Talk about Keita Rose. That's what I'm here for. Jesus, we are 41 minutes in and nothing, Lord.
Sure.
The pineal gland has tiny little cilia, hair-like extensions all around it. When you hold your...
But I want to prosper too.
Oh my goodness.
And with no apology.
And in this season of rest, I am addressing a lot of the things that I've been running away from.
Yeah.
And although the ugly way this was brought about, sometimes it's up to me to look for what I can take out of this situation and how I can better myself going forward. And
so powerful.
And so like just to end it,
we're not gonna end it. Let me first say.
Okay.
Please
let me first, second, and third say. Nobody has the power to take your voice or to rob you of your humanity. So we reclaim.
No, Pastor Jamal Bryant, don't pacify this man. This is a grown 35-year-old man. Okay, if he wanted to speak up, he would speak up. No one is taking away his voice, because when he had opportunity to yell and scream, he do so. When he had opportunity to pay that lady her money, he had the right to speak up to pay that lady her money, but she ain't got her money. So let's not do that, Pastor Jamal Bryant. Don't pacify these men. This man can speak for himself. Ace Metaphor is not a true victim of Keita. This is someone who wants to use the situation to make people feel bad for him. I don't feel bad for Ace. I will never feel bad for Ace, because here's the thing, right? I can understand Me Too victims. Most Me Too victims actually speak about what happened to them, but he won't speak about it. But yet want us to bandwagon for you. Tell us how you really feel, because you're not really talking. You've been wasting time for the past 40 minutes talking about your upbringing, about how you were in the church, how you were raised to be this and that, and how you stray away. Most people stray away from church. What else you got? What else you got, Lord? What else you got, boo? Can you talk about what did you do for the last 10 years? Can you tell the church? Can you tell the people what you've been doing for the past 10 years? Since 2013. I'm sorry, the past 12 years. What you been doing? How you been hoeing? Like Keita Rose said. Have you been giving your seed away? Faking to be married this whole time, but really you've been hoeing on your so-called wife. Is this the wife that you kept married throughout this whole time, pretending that you were married to her? Is this their actual wife, or like y'all stayed friends, but y'all kept the paperwork, but y'all not really married? What happened? Y'all were separated for so long, but in the public, when you first started as a poet, you kept saying that you were married for the math is not mathing to me.
Aim both of those tonight. Podcast aside.
Let's take a quick break. I need help, because no. Hold on. That pissed me off so bad. likes up, please. Please like the live. Please like the live. Share the live, please. I beg. I just realized it's almost time. It's almost time to watch Trump. Y'all want to watch him with me? Almost time to watch him going on. Y'all want to watch Trump? I'm tired of this interview. I'm tired of this interview, y'all. I'm tired of this interview. Like, I'm so annoyed. Hold on. Let me fast forward to over here. See if
Most people have no clue that in 2025, there's a hidden law that allows any American to launch their credit scores into the 700s.
I was talking to one of my other friends who does podcasting as well. And it's always, it'd be like the podcast talk and, blah, blah, blah. And I remember speaking to her and I'm like, nah, I've never. Like, it's just something I've never done. Because mostly I was in a relationship as well.
With that
I would love to think now, but also it's just a strict boundary of mine. When we do and my bad for getting so detailed, when we do our shoots at my house in Dayton, it's 3-day shoots. We do 8 episodes every single day, 8 45-minute episodes. Guess who don't get a break? Me. I'm down in that basement 8 hours a day for 3 days. I barely get to speak and connect.
Wow.
The other people, they get to go and fraternize and this, and then they'll go out to eat. I'll go out to eat with them, pay for it. Then I go home and sleep. On tour, the cast get to show up when it's time to do the show. Guess
Nobody volunteers for the cleanup committee.
I got to be there at 9 a.m. and do this and do that and do that. So it's like, I think that was the one that was the one that I felt. And I had to talk to somebody and they were saying, your reputation isn't yours. It ain't yours.
Wowee.
Because it's like, you can spend years trying to build a reputation and in one video, it's gone.
Yeah.
The payment thing was one. And then the last thing that really caught me off guard and that I really hate was the accusation that I weight shamed anybody. I have never, ever, ever, ever commented on a woman's weight.
Wow.
Ever commented. And guess what? Every recording we have, just like everybody else, I don't know if y'all do it here.
Sweetie, I'm here to tell y'all, this is how I feel about most men. You don't have to say it. You don't have to actually say the words to make the woman feel like her weight is a problem. Your actions can't make a woman feel any type of way. I know you like to believe that women fall in love with words, but honestly, it's everything that you do. Your words need to match your actions, but if you're not saying much, then your actions need to speak up. So if your actions are showing me that you are weight shaming me, then I'm gonna say it. You act like me being a big girl, big back is a problem because you're trying to triangulate me with other women because I'm a big back. You don't have to say I'm a big back for you to make me feel like for you to make me feel like I'm a big back. Like be serious. Be serious.
You always have the live mic and the live camera over
Yeah.
there just to make sure.
Yeah.
I'm sitting down. Like that one was one that floored me too. And then there's one that I don't want to say on your podcast. And I
Just say it. We here.
Because let me first say this. The reason I don't want to say it because I felt that it was a disgusting thing to do or say, because I believe handicapped people, if they're mentally able, can have a routine, normal sex life. I was a nurse for 10 years. I've met people with all sorts of disabilities.
Wow.
Doesn't mean that you're not mentally capable of having the decision to have sex, and that you may not be attracted to an able-bodied person.
Right.
Attracted to an able-bodied person. But I have personally never had sex with a handicapped person. And not that offended me, the accusation. It is the demonization of someone that's handicapped.
Wow.
Like, even if this person is mentally able to consent to sex. So like,
but that requires maturity.
Yeah, but
and a lot of the internet don't have that.
That's why I said most
Yes.
stuff on the internet, I chalk it up because I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna defend the internet. I've made a living on the internet. I've enjoyed the good side of it.
Yes.
The middle sides of it. And this is probably the less favorable side of it.
Yeah.
But
Spit
all
out
of it,
the bones.
it comes with it. And it's sensational to hear people say that. It's and I get it. But I just felt bad for handicapped people, man.
Yeah.
Like
man,
the whole
your heart is great.
My bad for talking.
No.
Now you done got me going. I used to take care of people that couldn't take care of themselves.
Jeez.
I used to, and this may not be that they're mentally not there. They can give consent.
Right.
But maybe they got their leg amputated. Maybe their arm is from a stroke.
Who?
And I seen these people every single day. And now it's like, it's not even about me. It's about how we gonna villainize, how we gonna make that as a butt of a joke.
Yeah.
And so I've had to, now let me tell you this, and I promise I'm done talking after this. I've had to come to grips with just tapping out of that energy.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying my best not to go in where that energy is.
And that's a decision.
Yeah, because it's so many other places my energy is needed. But those were some of the things. I mean, there's a mountain of other things. I mean, the accusation about homosexuality is not new to me. That's what people want to do to me on the internet to try to discredit me. They want to say, I was raised by my mother.
Right.
I mean, in a village of women. So I grew up with quote unquote feminine mannerisms.
Right.
So it's nothing new. All throughout middle school, high school, they always.
But you got self-awareness.
Yeah, so I'm okay. That one don't bother me as much because it's like that's what everybody want to say.
So like, are you gay or not? Dog. Are you gay? Are you doing the bending? Which one is it? Is you gay? Oh, Are you doing the bending? Tell the public, shame the devil. If what she's saying is not true, then speak up for yourself, man. You're grown, right? You're a grown, able-bodied man. I'm 35 years old. Hear me roar. Can you tell us? Can you tell us, please, how you really feeling? How you feeling, sis? I mean, is you gay or not? Like, this was your time to speak up. Like, this whole interview was stupid.
Say against me, but those are some of the things that kind of bother me. But most of all, I'm gonna tell you the biggest thing that bothered me. The biggest thing that bothered me is
this morning on Take It Off Today, an incredible transformation on TikTok. Her weight loss video went viral with 12 million.
and I'm be careful. I feel betrayed.
And
I know you're not talking about you being betrayed, my nigga. I know. On that note, let's go watch Trump, because I ain't got time for this. Let's go watch Trump. I'm going to come back. See, no, he's not finna gaslight me. That is not what we're doing. You feel betrayed. You took that lady money. You betrayed? You betrayed? You took her commerce. You took her the rights to her name for the commerce. You ain't paid her money. You paid her men instead of her. Like, and you betrayed? You see the shock face that Pastor Jamal Bryant has right now? I have the opposite one, but it's the same effect. Like, oh, is you serious? I gotta go. Let's go watch Trump. Excuse me. I'm sure that's more of a mess than this is. I ain't got time. I gotta go. No. I'm gonna come back with Trump. Bye.